Merry Christmas! It's time to drink.
2 shots of vodka.
So it's Christmas time. It's the time of year when everyone starts watching Christmas movies and listening to Christmas music and all that good stuff. And a big thing that happens around this time is that people get really into romance movies. Many people refer to these movies as chick flicks.
True.
True. But what if I told you that there was an entirely different category of Christmas movies that we have discovered? And these are not chick flicks, but they are Dyck flicks. We have discovered the Dyck flick cinematic universe. These are all movies directed by a wonderful Canadian man named Justin G. Dyck. If you have the name Justin, a lot of times people will make jokes about your name like, oh, looks like you made it just in time. But
Fair.
in this man's case, you would say he made it
Justin Dyck?
In Canada, a certain amount of their media has to be produced by Canadians.
Right, which is, I think, why part of Degrassi's success.
Hey, man, if you really did it, tell us what it was like. Why? You guys never had sex?
No matter how bad Degrassi gets, it's still on the air.
So we've got like 30 fucking years of Degrassi.
Why don't you just stop by, say hi?
And what, stand around like a knob?
That's why you got all that really top quality Canadian media.
I got, it's a bubble.
I'm almost out of beer.
Well, that's okay, because
We're
we've got...
only in the introduction.
That's... So Tyler went to go get more beer. We're going to play a drinking game, and it's going to be called Drink Whenever Justin Dyck Reflects the Quality of Canadian Media. So really, we're just going to drink. We're going to be going over 6 of his movies. We're going to have 3 romances and 3 children's movies. So we are going to start with the romances. Welcome to the world of the romantic Dyck flick. So the first movie we're going to be going over is a movie called Christmas Wedding Planner. So Christmas Wedding Planner tells the story of Kelsey, who has just started her own wedding planning business and is working on her first wedding, which is actually her cousin's wedding. Her cousin comes from like a very wealthy side of the family. Their aunt, who's her cousin's mom, is very proper. She's always like really snooty and everything.
She acts really snooty, and yet, like, all of these scenes where it feels like she should be being visited in like a big mansion, she's actually like sitting on a couch in like the sunroom in the back of somebody's house, where it's just like, okay, this is a nice home, but like she's like acting like she's this ridiculously wealthy woman in a mansion, and here she is just like, oh, I'm being hoity-toity in this small room that we have for the afternoon. Same thing with the wedding. The wedding was like a normal wedding in a church. It wasn't some extravaganza. That sounds stupid when I say that.
It was at like a podunk middle of nowhere church.
It was like a middle of nowhere normal church. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're going to try and sell this as this fancy, elegant family, then you can't do that in your movie.
Can you handle that?
That was hard looking at Todd.
You expect me to believe that some mysterious person hired you to ruin this wedding?
You know, if you want to make sure the wedding goes off without a hitch, you can always help me out.
Someone had hired him mysteriously to inspect Emily's fiance Todd to make sure that he was all Gucci, you know, all clean and green, all above the ground. I don't know what phrase I'm looking for.
Above the ground? Yeah, make sure no one put him in the ground ahead of time.
Kelsey starts to help him out as a private investigator to make sure the whole wedding runs smoothly. And in the process, they end up feeling sexual attraction for one another.
There's next to no implication that they're romantically entangled. They have a little bit of fun staking out in a car, and that's about all of the time they spend together on screen.
I would say positive things about this movie would be it had a character from Degrassi in it.
Not the character, the actress.
Oh. I choose to believe it's the character because I'm a little drunk. This takes place in the Degrassi universe as well.
Wow. This is the most ambitious crossover.
So
Step aside, Infinity War.
So she shows up in this movie and she plays this bridesmaid who is just super jealous of everything.
Worth noting that the bridesmaids are credited only as, what is it? Jealous bridesmaid?
Jealous bridesmaid,
clumsy bridesmaid.
So this one is the jealous one.
Seriously, Em? This is the exact same place I was gonna buy my wedding dress. Beautiful. And in the same dress I wanted for my Christmas wedding. Oh, you just have it all. So for my wedding, I was thinking of having a tropical theme. Is that something you think you can do?
Yeah, of course. When's your wedding?
I don't have a date set yet. Or a boyfriend.
Like, she just makes everything about her the whole time, and it's great because I'm just like, you were in Degrassi. Started from the bottom, now we're here. See, that was another reference because that's a line from Drake, who also started on Degrassi.
Oh!
Drink to fucking Canada.
Cheers to Canada.
Cheers to Canada. I've never been there. Yeah, so basically throughout this movie, she starts going on the investigation with him. Along the way, they meet Joey Fatone from NSYNC. So it turns out that Joey Fatone from NSYNC owns a restaurant that ends up catering the wedding. And then a whole bunch of crazy shit happens because, like, the guy who's the private investigator, she's dating him now.
Is she dating him?
Well, she, like, kisses him, so I don't know. I don't fucking know.
It's very... There's almost no relationship in this movie.
They kiss once.
And
then
they spend a small montage hanging out in a truck that's shot so you can't see outside the sides of the truck, because if you could see outside the sides of the truck, you'd see they weren't parked anywhere in an actual town. I really think Savvy's overselling the fact that this movie has a plot. Most of the movie is just spent dicking around in houses. And when I say in houses, I don't mean that all of the scenes take place in houses. Some of the scenes take place in bakeries and dress shops. All of the businesses that aren't restaurants in this movie or church are houses. They are someone's house that the movie asks you to believe is a place of business. There's her friend who's a baker, and he makes elaborate cakes and things to go.
He makes them in a home kitchen.
It's supposed to look...
He has like a normal ass oven in there.
They tried to gussy it up and be like, oh, it's a bakery. We'll shoot it from this angle. And then you look, and it's literally just a home kitchen in a suburban home. And they're like, it's a bakery. He's a professional baker.
Like, he has a living room attached to his kitchen. Like, this is clearly a house. He has like a regular sized refrigerator and oven. Like, that's not a bakery. There's no way he's making bakery volumes of goods.
Yeah.
This guy is played by Thor.
Discount Thor.
Discount Thor. He's
Discount
not
Chris
literally
Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth, but he's a knockoff version of Chris. He's like the Chris Hemsworth you'd buy at Walmart. That's Charles the baker.
Yeah. Where this whole time we're supposed to be feeling like the groom is suspicious, and he's not really. He just kind of like exists. He shows up in a few scenes and not enough to justify being suspicious. And eventually we get to the end and they have the wedding, and it's like, oh, he's gonna burst through the door when they say, speak now or forever hold your peace.
I called this.
She did call
I
this.
called it. I was
But-
like, speak now or forever hold your peace. This man's gonna fucking speak now. He comes in with this random ass pregnant lady.
Oh right, he comes in with a random pregnant lady.
pregnant lady, and she's ass pregnant. That's important.
He comes in with this pregnant lady who I don't think even showed up in the movie.
No, she was
and
like-
has a twist reveal that, oh, well, he knocked up the help.
She was the hell.
After all this, okay, so obviously the wedding is off and he's been caught and the bride's outside.
She was like, you know, has been doing all this elaborate setup leading up to her wedding. She just kind of like goes out into the courtyard and sits there.
She's like a little upset.
She's just kind of like, aw. And then her cousin, who's the wedding planner and the main character,
She's like checking on her.
comes outside to
stuff.
check on her. So then the guy, the private investigator, comes outside, and the girl whose wedding it was supposed to be is not just like, hey, get the fuck out, this is supposed to be my wedding.
Yeah.
Instead, she's like, oh, I'll give you 2 a minute. Because this guy has had sexual tension with her cousin, so he's like, oh, I shouldn't intrude on their scene, regardless of the fact that he just intruded on my goddamn wedding.
Uh-huh.
But no, she's like...
And ruined it.
Yeah, and ruined it. She's like, oh, I'll just give you 2 a minute. So while she's giving them a minute, what happens, Tyler?
He gets down on one knee
I'm like, he's got to be doing a bit. They've known each other for like 2 days. They haven't even had legitimate
It's
relationship
been
yet.
literally like 2 days in the course
I'm
of
like,
this
he's
movie.
doing a bit. He's gonna say like, will you go on a date with me or something?
Yeah, and it's like he's gonna do a bit.
He's gonna do a bit.
It's gonna be like a fake out because
Yeah.
they're at a wedding. Haha,
Yeah,
it's a bit.
yeah.
And the guy gets down on one knee and literally proposes to the wedding planner.
At first she's like, we don't even really know each other yet. Like she's being like practical, and I'm like, good, this makes sense. This is good.
Yeah.
Cut to the next scene. They're back at the same church, like half an hour later.
Yeah, literally, it's the same day.
It's the same day. They're
They're
at the same
using
wedding.
the same wedding.
Because the wedding's already set up, and she's like, oh, I planned this wedding. Might as well be my wedding. So her cousin is still in her wedding dress, and she's standing in a bridesmaid spot next to her, and the girl gets married to him right there, and that's how the movie ends. So moving on, the next movie is called Christmas with a View. Christmas with a View stars Vivica A. Fox of Cool Cat Saves the Kids fame.
We say stars because the movie bills her second or third on the box, I think.
This is a nice piece of Gruyere. Our friends.
Yeah.
Well, have a good night.
You too. Bye. Do you know who that is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, I have a very exciting announcement to make. I've hired a new head chef. He's a huge talent, Shane Rourke.
Basically, for the holidays, their restaurant is getting a new chef, and that's like the big news. So like all of the wait staff is gathered around a TV, and they're watching the celebrity chef show to see who's going to be the new winner. And on the celebrity chef competition is Charles the Baker from Christmas Wedding Planner.
And he's named, like, in the scene as Charles.
His
They
name
call
is
him out as
Charles,
Charles.
and
It's the same actor.
It's the same guy.
He's wearing he's the same costume. He's got beard, he's got long hair, and he's dressed up in baker's gear.
So that's when we realized that all of Justin G. Dick's movies exist in the same cinematic universe. And we were like, this is really cool because he's got a lot of weird shit that happens in his movies, which, you know, we'll talk later about the elves and the talking animals and all of that other good stuff that exists in these universes too. So this new guy comes to work for the restaurant, and essentially, I mean, you guys know the plot at this point. He falls in love with the girl who's managing the restaurant, Clara. So that movie overall was not that bad. We didn't have that much to complain about. It was just a basic, okay holiday romance like anything you'd see on the Hallmark Channel.
It was mostly just bland.
But the main reason we included this movie is because it had Charles in it, which proves the existence of the Dick Flick cinematic universe.
Right.
So that's really all we have to say for Christmas with a View. It's, you know, it was okay. The next movie we watched was called A Puppy for Christmas.
All Noelle wanted for Christmas, the perfect life she'd always planned on.
I thought we could be one big happy family.
You know I'm allergic. But when her new puppy made a mess of everything, I can't do this. She found herself left out in the cold.
Ooh, who is that?
Our adventure columnist.
Yeah, I know this is gonna sound strange, but why don't you come with me? We've got plenty of room at the farm.
Now, with a little training, she'll learn that the best gifts in life
I have no boyfriend, no home, and soon no job.
are the surprises you never see coming. A Puppy for Christmas.
Her whole life, all she's ever wanted is a puppy. And it starts off with that awful voiceover narration where it's like...
All of the movies have this, by the way.
All the movies have the voiceover
It's
narration.
like the protagonist lady just voicing over something that requires no voiceover. You could have a short montage of scenes that illustrate the thing that they're talking about, and yet they always have it. It's like Justin Dick has a template for his movies, but he can't be.
I bet he does. So it starts with voiceover narration. She's like, growing up, I always wanted a puppy for Christmas, but my parents got me a goldfish, and then the next year they got me a turtle, and then the next year they got me some other random obscure animal.
Why did they get you all these
Why
animals?
are they giving you all these random ass animals? So one day she just goes and she just gets a puppy even though her boyfriend is allergic to it. So this dog is a cockapoo. So she gets a cockapoo.
This movie is a cockapoo.
The dog destroys the living room and all of Todd's nice stuff, so he gets really mad and breaks up with her and kicks her out of his apartment. And
when we say destroys, I think we need to draw attention
to the fact the dog does not destroy anything.
The dog doesn't destroy anything because they don't have props they can destroy. What the dog actually does is spreads a bunch of stuffing all over the couch and puts some white gunk on his watch, which seems to be functioning just fine.
Yeah, so the dog doesn't even do anything
And something
wrong.
about a vase, which I don't know what that was.
So after this dog does basically nothing wrong, Todd breaks up with her and kicks her out of his apartment. So she goes to her office and tells this other guy at work who looks a lot like Charles, but is not Charles. It turns out he's a different actor, different character, everything. We looked it up just to make sure the universe was still intact and that Charles wasn't two places at once. They work at a magazine and they all write articles about things.
Magazine that's run like a clickbait site.
Oh, definitely. Except for the deadlines. We'll talk about that in a minute. He offers that she can go to his family's farm with him for Christmas. There's also, she brings the puppy with. His name's Buster. He's really cute. Let's start actually by talking about how the dog is handled in this movie.
Sure.
So
that's a great idea.
So first of all, I love the dog. As everyone knows, we are dog people. We have Chewy. This dog was not treated like a dog. So when she first gets the dog, she does not make any effort to train the dog. She never walks the dog is the big thing. She has a leash for the dog, but she rarely puts it on him. Instead, she just kind of carries it around.
She rarely puts the dog on the ground as well.
I'm worried she thinks he's a cat because she's carrying him around constantly everywhere. Like this dog never walks anywhere. The dog comes everywhere with her. So
including many places that you do not bring a dog.
She brings him into every restaurant, every bar. She just carries him in.
No one objects to the fact that she's carrying a dog around.
So I think the next topic we need to cover is the quality of journalism at this magazine. So we've noticed this trend in Christmas romances. It happened in this movie and in A Christmas Prince. I'm going to come at this from a journalist perspective. So if you guys don't know, I work as a music journalist. I do interviews. I put out articles. I get paid for it. I don't work for clickbait sites. Now, this place seems to have the quality of writing of a clickbait site where like the articles they're writing are like 5 keys to a good marriage and stuff like that. This place she works at is a print magazine. Generally, when you have more time and you're getting paid more and you're working for something that's going to be printed using ink and printing costs, you generally have to produce something that's well researched and of higher quality. So for her article, she is interviewing people. She's doing an article on what makes a good marriage, but it's essentially a fluff piece. And they're treating this like this is like some kind of major like investigative journalism.
But her boss is like, I've already given you an extension of like 2 weeks. And it's like, girl, all you gotta do is call up like an elderly couple, ask them a couple of questions. This editor should be on her, like, hand over the article, write it in an afternoon because it's a stupid fluff piece, turn it in, and stop wasting my time. But the movie keeps acting like this lady is so put upon with this article about what makes a good marriage.
It's because it's supposed to be so emotional for her because her relationship just failed. So the hunky nature man, Liam, at her work invites her to go with his family to their farm for Christmas since she has nowhere else to go. So she gets ready to go to his farm and she rolls up wearing this hat that Tyler and I have determined is a hat that is made only for leading ladies in Christmas romance movies because no one else has ever worn this hat. It's like our little red beret.
You never see anyone who isn't the female lead in some kind of Christmas or winter set romance movie wearing those little poofy sideways hats.
So she's wearing one, getting in his big like beat up Jeep or whatever.
And he's like, are you going dressed like that?
Because she's wearing like her business outfit still.
Right.
She's still like in her professional ass work clothes. And he's like, we're going to a farm. Aren't you going to wear some jeans? And she's like, I'm not wearing jeans. It's never explained what's wrong with jeans or why she doesn't like jeans. And in the very like next day, she's just wearing jeans with no explanation.
Yeah, she literally just shows up wearing jeans.
So like it's never even, that goes nowhere. They go to his family's farm. And he's dating a girl who is in Peru right now, and she's like, they're planning to get married, but she's out of town and she wants to just keep traveling and exploring, so she's not there yet. But his family thinks that it's going to be his fiance that's coming home with him. So they burst the door open, and their family's like, surprise! Because they think they're welcoming his fiance. They're welcoming his random-ass coworker. So it's a little funny mix-up.
His sister is a lesbian.
And what's funny about that is that she's a lesbian.
She's a lesbian.
She's a lesbian. I heard you.
She's a gay. She's gay.
Haha, you guys!
It's funny because she's a woman and she likes other women. It's funny because it's gay.
That makes it funny.
It's hilarious.
She's a homosexual. I know. I heard the rumors. It's true. She's gay. She's a lesbian.
They keep making jokes, and they aren't very clever. It's all just, haha, she's attracted to the female lead. She's a lesbian.
Lesbian. Lesbian. Lesbian.
So when they first come inside for Christmas, the main girl is like walking, like she's walking through the room, and the lesbian girl immediately grabs her and is like, "Merry Christmas to me." That's the first introduction we get of the girl who's a lesbian. So I'm like, oh, she must be a lesbian. It's like,
well, this is the guy's sister, and she thinks that this is his fiance, and she's like, "Merry Christmas to me. You got a hot fiance, brother."
So within like 5 minutes of this movie, we get 4 lesbian jokes. So the next thing is that the girl wakes up the next morning and she's wearing the lesbian girl Santa outfit. So Liam is like, "I think you traded clothes with my sister last night." And she's like, "Oh, I bet she loved that." Then it's time to cut down a Christmas tree. And Liam says, "My sister's the lumberjack in our family." It's funny because she's a lesbian. Then later they're sitting around a campfire, and the main character girl, like, she's wearing a flannel shirt, and she's like, "I like wearing flannel." And the sister's like, "I like it too." It's funny because she's a lesbian. Lesbians wear flannel, and they like it when other women wear flannel.
You
And
guys,
she's a lesbian.
do you know why it's funny?
It's because she's a lesbian. It's because she eats. So the main character starts to become attracted to Liam, the hunky nature guy, and meanwhile his fiance just keeps not coming back from Peru, and then he ends up breaking up with her, and he's just like, "I was always second in her life, second to work, second to travel." And it's like, well, it kind of sounds like you were third in her life, because it was work, then travel, then you, so you were third. I don't know. Liam can't count.
That's math.
That's
I think
why.
that's just math.
That's math. So
He was third.
So instead, Liam and the main character get together, which everyone saw from a goddamn mile away.
I think it's worth noting that we gave this movie the benefit of the doubt, because this one felt a little bit more like a movie than some of the
It
other
had a
ones.
slightly higher production
It had a
value.
little higher production value. All of the crappy dog stuff aside, it felt, more like a movie, and they had sets and locations, and they filmed in the snow, which is big.
People
for
were
a big,
outside and not green
People were
screen.
outside and not green screen. Crazy stuff. We thought that it was too much for the main character and hunky dude to end up together at the end of this movie, because it happened over the course of just a couple days, and he had just recently had a fiance.
And she had been dating this other guy for 5 years.
5 years.
And he had been with his fiance for a couple of years, and it seemed like they really had these healthy long-term relationships with other people, so it seemed like for them to end up together was just very hasty.
Right. And yet, it happened,
They
because
did. They got
Justin
together.
G. Dyck has no self-control,
No,
and
he
every
has to
movie
make them
must
end up
end with male lead and female lead together, and you can't ever have a twist on that where it's like, it would be too weird for them to be in a relationship already. You can't just have them getting to know each other and her be accepted like she's part of their family and not just be that. Gotta be romantically involved.
Gotta be romantic.
Gotta have a montage at the end where they're cuddling on a bed with 2 puppies, because
There's
now
2
they have
puppies
2 puppies.
at the end. That's the end, is they get a second puppy.
Spoilers.
Spoilers, there's 2 puppies. So I hope you all enjoyed getting romantic today with Justin Dyck and the 2 of us. So we're hoping you're all having a romantic Christmas. Stay tuned. In a couple days, we're going to release part 2 of this video, which will be the Justin G. Dyck Cinematic Universe Christmas Kids Edition.
Kidsmas?
Kidsmas Edition. We're going to be moving beyond the romance movies and into the sector of children's content, which we have decided is still in the same cinematic universe because it's the most ambitious crossover yet. So if you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button, please pound that subscribe button, and we will see y'all in part 2.
D-Y-C-K.
Yeah, but I'm gonna spell it the other way in the title just for SEO purposes.
No, that's dumb.